By His grace, we're alive and we're here. We have another edition of the show. Our gratitude will go to the Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive, and of course, the opportunity of having another conversation along the top stories making the rounds here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into our panel for the morning's conversation shortly. But let's take a look at the front page of our newspaper. 7 days into census, half of households counted. Northeast region covers 64%. Okay, I'm waiting to be counted. ENI discovers more oil. Environment Minister calls for debate on GMOs. March for Justice ends peacefully. Ghanaian Times. March for Justice demo hits Accra as supporters of NDC march through Accra streets. CRI applauds government for bearing cost of surgery on conjoined twins. Edra Ministerial Committee sitting. Ashanti Regional Minister appears before probe. Government to retool Ghana National Fire Service with $61 million equipment. Daily Guide. Edra probe. Minister Defense Military. I killed Bolt driver for money ritual. Suspect. Child Rights Lords Nanes twins gesture. NDC stage demo in Accra. Nam1 sick. Trial adjourned. The New Crusading Guide. NDC mischief uncovered as big wigs hijack March for Justice demo to hoodwink Ghanaians and supporters. Farouk Aliu Mahama among 10 best performing MPs. Top kings rise to 4 media houses over Trasaco lands. Koforidua Jackson Park to get facelift. 1 tree crop can fetch Ghana 2.5 million Ghana cedis yearly. A Greek minister. New chief executive takes office at NPA. The Insight. Thousands join Accra demo in protest against injustice, insecurity, and hardships. COVID-19, minority blasts government over spread of Delta variant. Ongoing population and housing census. Ahmadiyya mission worried over anomalies in PHC questionnaire. Bibiani and Riaso Bekwai, MP commissions borehole project for constituents. The Informer. Asiedun Ketia, ample full sophistry exposed. March for Justice demo to remain relevant. Nat shouts to government. Release capitation grant to basic schools. NDC women organizer preaches violence. Ill advises supporters to take law into their own hands. Fifth Ghana International Trade and Finance Conference. Baumia speaks on monetary policy. Energy Minister elevated. Recognized by Jeffrey Group and UNESCO for his support for education. The Inquisitor. Desire to lead NPP in 2024. Baumia creates confusion. NDC Youth Wing shakes Accra. FDA writes to the Inquisitor. Police hospital to conduct mass burial for 200 unidentified bodies. Coming up, Second Lady Samira Baumia and Friends of Baumia agenda. The Herald. Baumia supporters hoot at Alan at Gabi's father's funeral as NPP flag bearership race warms up giddy giddy. NDC youth defy COVID to demonstrate against state-sponsored murders, dictatorship, and insecurity under Akufo-Addo. Arrogant Ashanti Regional Minister justifies sending soldiers to Ejura. Coming up, more on the $70 million judgment debt awarded Sahara Group owners. The Daily Statesman. Karker's brother attacked him, please maintains as witnesses appear before Ejura committee. Abuga Pele's family expresses appreciation to Akufo-Addo. Appropriate authorities will deal with your concerns. Government assures NDC. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, one of your deputy chiefs of staff, that's Emmanuel Aduma Bossman. Good morning, my brother. The Daily Searchlight. Tension at Nkrumah Circle. Indian purchaser wants traders out. We will protect your wards, GES boss. Nam1's cough causes adjournment. Okay. GRA goes cashless. The Custodian. Sami Jemfi boycotts NDC demo. New NPA CEO takes office. Minister justifies military deployment in Ejura. A Greek minister tours 5 regions. Steps up production in cashew, shea butter, coffee, and others. Daily Post. We're tired of Akufo-Addo's dictatorship. NDC supporters cry as they march for justice. March for justice demo. NDC youth petitions Akufo-Addo. Parliament over growing insecurity. We won't stop demonstrating until you call your vigilante boys to order. Asiedun Ketia to Akufo-Addo. Gaman check. Intaki Teko Churu II assures Zoom Lion of his support towards the promotion of 1 million waste bin distribution. Business and Financial Times. 8 billion Ghana cedis energy sector debt paid through ESLA in 4 years, according to a report. CRI lauds government for taking up cost of conjoined twin surgery. Patient capital of up to 15 years is coming. Oferiata assures business. Agric Minister begins tour of 5 regions to step up production in cashew, shea butter, coffee, and others. Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology rekindles debate on GMOs. ENI makes significant oil discovery. And that's about it. For the front pages, we'll be back shortly.
Handkerchief gets dirty and wet after wiping your sweat or blowing your nose with it. Keeping a dirty handkerchief in your pocket or bag is very unhygienic. Reusing it increases your chances of getting sick from germs. That is why I always use Floral disposable handkerchiefs. Floral disposable handkerchiefs is disposable, thus making it a more hygienic option. It's thick and very absorbent. With 10 tissues in a pack, Floral disposable handkerchief is better than a cloth handkerchief. The Flora toilet roll, Flora multi-purpose paper towels, Flora table napkins, and Flora box tissues in a shop near you. For both purchases, call Delta Paper Mail on 0243 033 033.
Yenim sa upe football pa. And nothing a high sense as sponsor Euro 2020. Edia Mauno. Nisa sunti na yatete TV so say who? Edia Mauno. A high sense Euro 2020 TV super promo. Kahoe kwajo brand new high sense TV and nebuo dafo. Pictures ni clear na color ni deep. Sound quality ni so dia one it here. High sense TV so dia extra power. About down one access you are. Akona uti sa abefo. If it's 18th June, I confirm 11th July. A high sense Euro 2020 TV super promo. Emma Refisa high sense and Kwan Emma 5 years warranty. A high sense Euro 2020 TV super promo. I cost a high sense showrooms. I want Ghana for Nanina. What you would ya Nansenya? High sense everyday prices for everyday people. High sense official sponsor at the Euro 2020.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Show brought to you in kind partnership with X Natural Mineral Water. With me on the show this morning, I have the managing editor of the Inside newspaper, Kwesi Pratt Jr. Good morning, Kwesi.
Good morning, sir.
Also with me on the show this morning is a member of parliament for the Subin constituency, also a former deputy minister of Works and Housing, Eugene Boachi Entry. Good morning, Eugene.
Morning, Randy.
Right. Kwesi, today is the birthday of your brother.
Which one of them?
Rogubaku.
Oh. Hey, it's 7th July. I see.
You know he shares a birthday with Anas.
Oh, yeah. Anas, yeah, I saw Anas, yeah.
Yes, they share a birthday.
Oh.
Yes.
So that's a bonding.
Yes, we go back and Nana share the same birthday.
So happy birthday
To both of them. And also 3 members of parliament today.
3?
Yes.
Which one?
Honorable member for English Amman from Honorable Slice.
Okay, so
Honorable member for...
He's a Kotoko supporter.
Oh, proper one.
He wept at the stadium.
Honorable member for Sehuyoso, Dr. Kwaku FEA, Minister for
Environment. Yes.
And then Honorable member for Asante Achem North, Honorable Andrew Apiekobi.
Okay. Today is Andy's birthday.
3 of them.
Oh, okay. So happy birthday guys. To all of the 7th July celebrants. Happy birthday. We wish you the very, very best. Kwesi, you have publicly said that you retired from demonstrating. You're now a consultant.
Oh, no.
No, you didn't say you're a consultant. I said, that's my bit. Yesterday we had a demonstration in Accra, and that demonstration became popular not because it is novel, but I'm sure that it's because of the difficulty that groups that have desired to demonstrate, the roadblocks that have been put in there, the impediments that have been put in their way by the police and the courts and all that. And so yesterday's was more like a relief, like people have just been released from jail. What's your observation of yesterday's demonstration and its significance?
Well, I saw some concern. Yesterday's demonstration was a major victory in many senses. That it happened at all is one major victory. Because over a certain period, the impression has been created that some authorities were uncomfortable with allowing demonstrations. And indeed, if you take the Fix Ghana movement, it's had many difficulties in trying to organize a demonstration, has been in and out of court on several occasions. So when the youth wing of the National Democratic Congress announced that we wanted to organize a demonstration, there were many who thought that it was not possible and that it was going to meet the same frustrations and so on. Now, yesterday, that demonstration took place. And looking at the pictures and videos that I've seen, it was very well patronized, you understand? So I think that in itself is victory. I also think that the government needed this demonstration to come on, you know, and there should be celebrations at the center of government. As government really desperately needed to put out a statement which suggests that it was not opposed to demonstrations and that people have the free will, you know, and are entitled to free expression and so on. Yesterday's demonstration provided that feeling. So it was a victory to the organizers of the demonstration and might as well be seen also as a victory to government in some ways and so on. Now, I had some comments about the number of persons who participated in the demonstration. I think that is completely irrelevant. Even though looking at the videos, looking at the photographs which have been published by a number of newspapers and so on, it was very well patronized. But even if we come to the conclusion that it was not well patronized, we should understand the circumstances. I mean, only a few weeks ago, security services actually opened fire on demonstrators. That's sufficient disincentive for people to participate in demonstrations. Beyond that, the COVID threat was also highlighted significantly. I mean, just from Monday, we've been hearing about the rise in COVID cases. We've been hearing about the spread of the Delta variant and so on. So I know people who told me that they were not going to participate in the demonstration, even though they sympathized with the objectives of the demonstration because of the fear of COVID and so on. Another thing that I found significant was the choice of routes. And this route is very strange. Here's the first time I've heard any demonstration take that route, you know.
Which route?
It starts at Accra Mall, moves on to 37, turns through, the airport, goes through Cantonment's post office, goes to Flagstaff House, turns to Sankara, and goes to Parliament House. I mean, largely these are empty spaces. You understand? And organizers of demonstrations usually try to go through busy places so that they can attract more crowd and so on. The other thing too is that if you choose a point of convergence, that point of convergence should provide easy access to people. You remember when the Fixed Ghana movement wanted to start a demonstration from Black Star Square? I made a point. That wasn't a very good convergence place. I think that the route itself was also problematic. The other thing that was problematic was the first announcement that came. You recall that the first announcement that came virtually gave about 4 or 5 routes. Some people were going to come from Medina, some people were going to come from the La Paz area and so on. And therefore, it did appear that not much attention was paid to concentrating, population and so on. But whatever it is, the demonstration took place. Whatever it is, the vent appears to have been opened. And there are indications also that the Face the Ghana movement would have its own demonstration on the 4th of August.
Oh, that's a holiday.
Yes.
Okay.
But that in itself is also tricky because experience has shown that holidays are not very good days for mobilizing people for demonstrations. But again, we are learning. I mean, we are getting into new situations and so on. I spoke to some of the leaders of the movement, and they were more interested in the symbolism of the day. Okay? And, I told them that the symbolism may be important, but if you're organizing a demonstration, the main purpose is to draw attention, you understand? So symbolism may be important, but there are other things to consider. I really wish them well. I mean, look. And then yesterday, I heard of something else which made me a little worried. There were hints, and I'm choosing my words very carefully, that some people in government and around government want to play the competition. They want to join the competition for organizing demonstrations. They want to put out people in the streets to show that they have greater numbers and so on.
But that's okay.
No, but I think it's reckless.
Oh, it's okay. They should do it. I mean,
yeah, I don't have any objection to it. Who am I to say that people cannot organize demonstrations? But it is particularly reckless, especially for people in government. You see, when you are in government, you want to have stability. When you are in government, you don't want to have chaos. When you are in government, you want to have a certain level of normality and so on. When you are in opposition, you benefit from situations which are not normal and so on. So if people in government or people around government think that this is a competition worth doing and so on, they must look at other countries. You should count the cost of one demonstration. Demonstrations come with cost. Now, if you have a situation where the opposition or groups allied to the opposition or individuals organize a demonstration, and you want to prove that you have a bigger crowd, fine. You can organize to show a bigger crowd. But then it's an incentive for the opposition or other groups also to show that they can also put out bigger crowds.
True.
Yeah?
True.
So
we'll have one every week.
Yeah, the competition for numbers.
But that'll be good.
So you can end up with a situation where in some countries, every week you have about 4 demonstrations.
That'll be fine.
Now, is that something that government really wants? To have a situation where every week you have 2 demonstrations, or every other day you have a demonstration and so on. Look at what happens in a place like Venezuela. The opposition organizes a demonstration, the next day government organizes a demonstration, the next day the opposition organizes a demonstration and so on. There's a competition for numbers and so on. I think that's not really pretty. And given the state of the national economy and all of that, I would advise that that tool, which is a very important tool for free expression and so on, should be utilized, judiciously, and we do not reduce ourselves to some of these countries where demonstrations occur, on a daily basis and so on. So that's all I have to say.
Eugene,
Randy,
did you monitor the demo?
yes, let me first of all say good morning to our esteemed viewers. And of course, like we said, I am also relieved at the fact that finally we've heard the NDC's stance on national issues. A petition was presented to the presidency, which was received on behalf of the president by one of the deputy chiefs of staff, my brother Carlos von Brazil,
Nobody remembers that name. Everybody remembers von Brazil.
Yes. Carlos Edumwa.
Emmanuel
Edumwa Bosman, otherwise known as Carlos von Brazil. And he also assured the demonstrators that it will receive attention at the highest level, and the institutions of state that are charged with, supervisory roles over these bodies will also get to work. They then moved on to the House of Parliament, also presented one to the majority leader and the parliamentary leadership. It was also well received. We are going to study the petition. Of course, there have been concerns over killings and, what they also allegedly mentioned state of insecurity and what have you. But Randy, you see, one thing I hate to do, and one thing I try to restrain myself from doing is equalization. Because why do people vote? People vote to get rid of bad for good. You understand? So sometimes when I appear on such programs, I don't want to go back. Rollins did this, Kufuor did this, Muhammad did this. It doesn't help anybody. That's why they are all out of governance now. Kufuor. What I also must add is that we don't want to see all these issues that they've raised as a partisan MPP, a Kufuor matter. You understand? Otherwise, it's difficult. Well, I think the public hearings have started. The hearing has started in Kumasi. We listened to, I at least listened to the Ashanti Regional Minister. I listened to the Joy multimedia guy, Erastus Asari Donko's testimony. Beyond that, the Chief of Army Staff. I'm getting confused with all these things. He's the Chief of Army Staff, Opon Pepra, also went to WA and assured the chiefs that the people will be brought to book and will be dealt with in the strictest sense of the disciplinary code and what have you. All these things are forward-looking, and we expect that. Like I said here last week, why we can see the institutions of state working now. I think immediately after that program last week, the president instructed the Minister for Interior to set up this public inquiry. So we must allow the institutions to work. And Randy, I'll tell you something. In my experience as a deputy minister, I always felt that sometimes, working in a place like Works and Housing, the place is full of engineers. You understand? So when matters come up, I didn't go to school to study engineering. We must allow those people to also deal with the matters, because that's where they have their competences. You understand? And that was what informed my thinking last week, that sometimes when things happen, the president is the father of the nation. Once he speaks, that he has all the facts available and he's speaking to advice and what have you. But when things happen, you must also give ministers, because when you look at our standing orders, ministers are responsible to come to Parliament. When urgent questions are filed and stuff. I think it's 64 and co. It clearly states that when there's an urgent matter, it must be raised either by a member or the leadership can raise it. They must come and address the nation on steps they have taken or steps that they are about to take to resolve a matter. And after that, if the president decides to speak, that's fine. But if you are always going to, in a democracy like ours, where in any democracy for that matter, Parliament is supreme. You understand? Why we sometimes want to draw in the president when there are people charged with these responsibilities is sometimes beyond me. But as a nation, we are growing. I'm sure from last week when these things broke out, the murder of Kaka in Ejura and the beatings of residents of Y and what have you, we can clearly see that the wheels of the institutions in this country have begun to, run, and we must allow it to run its full course. And then, when there are reports at the end of such investigations or such inquiries, then we can begin to interrogate what has gone or what is going wrong with our nation. That's a forward-looking approach. And now I have said I'm relishing the prospect of seeing the things they're going to be able to come on board. And my colleagues in the NDC, they must also give us alternative solutions. Because, they are the largest opposition party in the country, right? So if they have issues if you have issues to do with insecurity and stuff, the NDC must provide us alternative solutions. That look, if we come this way, we are going to do blah blah blah. But Randy, I was thinking, I was in the country at the time when there was a report on PV Obey and Co. Right? And there was a white paper issue. What happened to that white paper? Nothing happened. So what is wrong with what the Kufuor did the Iowa Suez Commission? Because we've seen things in the past like that. But like I said,
I don't understand the point you're making.
The point I'm trying to make is that Kufuor is not the only president who has disagreed with the findings of the commission. Yes. That's why I said I wasn't in the country at the time. But I remember there was a commission on PVOB and Co.
No, that was a Shraj report.
A Shraj report. Fine. But when these matters come up, we're not saying Kufuor is right or Rawlings was right or Kufuor is wrong, Rawlings was wrong. What we do is we interrogate the decisions and understand why these decisions were taken. Well, I sit as a member of parliament, I sit here as a minister in the Kufuor, the deputy minister in the Kufuor's first term. I have not privy to the IOS report and what is contained therein. But people make noise about the IOS report, and they want to see what the IOS report contains before we can all, speak to it. Otherwise, what are we really doing? So I believe that we must sometimes allow people to be questioned, allow people to come and address us. They are the ones given the responsibility of running the issues of state. And I'm so glad that in the last week you've seen activity, you've seen demonstration, you've seen the CDS, it's not the CDS, the Chief of Army Staff going to war, you've seen a public inquiry on its way. And then we are all going to witness these things and then come up to a conclusion what went wrong. Yesterday, my colleague, Honorable Kennedy Japan, was on Good Evening Ghana, said that if he had the power, he was the president, he would have sacked the regional minister. Maybe he's also privy to certain intelligence or what have you. These things must all come out so that Ghanaians will get to know that we don't come into politics to make life unbearable for Ghanaians. You understand? We are politics to make their life easier. And if their lives are not getting easier because of our own action, then we must begin to do self-introspection, whether it's MPP or NDC. Right? But over there, these are the people who voted us in to come and handle the matters of state. And Randy, I think that's what I've got to say. It was an uneventful demonstration. We didn't hear of any killings or any clashes or brutalities. And from the days of Kwesi and Co, what happened in the other days when people used to do press conference about killings and whatever. We didn't see that. So Ghana is gradually moving on. And it's not a banana republic that sometimes out of desperation, people want us to feel that when we allow the processes to work, and if we stop mentioning individuals. Randy, I want to give another example. People who come to the ministry, they want to come and discuss something about housing, they want to see a minister. Meanwhile, there's a director of housing there, whose job it is to explain matters better to you. You understand? So that's what is happening. When things happen, the president must come and address us. This must come and address us. We must stop that. There are people charged with every agency, department, or whatever in this country. And we must allow those people to also come.
Maybe you should tell the big men that they should also not involve themselves in things that others should be doing.
Yes.
Because if you go and speak about Floyd, people would expect you to speak about Kaka.
Hey, Randy.
No, true. If you say something,
Yes.
But Randy,
I'm not landed here too.
Oh, sorry.
So Randy, we must, every politician, we all went to school to study. Some did medicine, some did accounting. Today, I come here and start talking about medicine. I'm a layman, right? But there are experts there who can come and address it. If today I come here talking about hydraulics, There are engineers there who went to school to do that. To come here talking about law. There are people there. We must allow these people to come and address us. And always, I don't know, some people want to hear their own voices all the time. And it's a bit worrying, hearing your own voice, as if that everybody is stupid and you are the only intelligent person walking. And that I find a bit problematic. Anyway, Mr. Pratt, you come in. If I have to come in, I'll come in. If not, then...
No problem. I mean, just small matters, small but I think relevant matters. First of all, my father.
Your father?
Has never been president of this republic.
Your father?
And no president is my father. Presidents are presidents with strictly defined responsibilities and obligations in the Constitution. So this whole idea of presidents being father of the nation and so on, I don't want to hear it. No president is a father of the nation. In fact, we've had situations where presidents have been far, far younger, have the ages of most of the people in the country and so on. The idea of presidents being fathers of the nation and so on, it contributes to creating a certain culture, a certain disposition, which is not good for democracy. In a democracy, it is not a biological relationship between father and children. It's a relationship between president and citizens. And that relationship itself, properly defined, imposes clear responsibilities on the presidency. So I fully object to this notion of presidents being fathers or, in future, maybe mothers of the nation. The other thing that I think is important to clarify is simply the fact that given the fundamental law of this country, given the provisions in our Constitution, ministers are extensions of the president. In fact, the power that ministers exercise are powers that the president, delegates to them. Yes, sir. So there's no huge distinction between ministerial responsibility and presidential responsibility. Every minister, for example, when the finance minister goes to parliament to present the budget, it is rightly assumed that he's presenting the budget on behalf of the president. You understand what I'm saying?
He does so. He does so the authority of the president. Yes,
exactly. So this distinction between presidential function and ministerial functions and so on, it's a bit problematic for me. You understand? And then, yes, I mean, you see, as we go along, we are setting standards. And like you, I don't believe in equalization. Because if we're going to engage in equalization, we are only going to race to the bottom. I think we should elevate the game. So if something was wrong yesterday, we shouldn't repeat it today simply because it happened yesterday. So I agree with you on that score. However, I think that every day what we do every day also sets some standards. You understand? So as Randy indicated, if you have a president who actually issues a public statement on the murder of George Floyd, when similar things happen in Ghana, we would rightfully expect that he will comment on it.
Fair comment.
You understand?
Fair comment.
If in the past, anything that happened, we insisted that President John Mahama must be heard, we want to hear him, he hasn't said anything and so on, a certain standard has been set. We can ignore that standard, but there are some who would want to maintain that standard. So if it was not correct for President Mahama to keep quiet, it cannot be correct for President Akufo-Addo to keep quiet. You understand? Now, besides, the matters in issue are not ordinary, simple, day-to-day matters that you can ignore. When security services open fire into demonstrators with live ammunition, it's a serious matter.
Hence the public inquiry.
Agreed, but it's a serious matter. So when people insist on hearing the president and so on, I don't think that it's an aberration. It's something that we should worry about. It was a grievous matter, especially given what has been happening in the country over the last couple of months or maybe last year or two. I mean, so many things have happened which are exceedingly worrying. I don't want to begin to list because unnecessary. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. You understand? So these are my concerns. Now, yesterday, one of the issues which was raised in the demonstration was the findings of the Commission of Inquiry into Ayawaso West War Gone, and the recommendations which were made by the Commission, and then also the government white paper and so on. Recently, we've come to realize that even some of the recommendations which appear to have been accepted by government were not implemented. Okay. Now, the demonstrators were calling on the government to implement its own white paper, to interrogate the findings made by a commission which was set up by the government itself as a way of curbing the rise of insecurity, the rise of lawlessness, and so on. I think that that's a legitimate call. Last year, I participated in the observance of the anniversary of the Ayawaso West War Gone mayhem. And quite frankly, what I saw there, would dampen the spirit of every and anybody. I'm sure that if President Akufo-Addo was at that anniversary and he saw the people, whose legs had been amputated, saw people who were still in pain as a result of that mayhem, he himself would have been touched. So a call for compensation for those victims is not out of place. These are victims of state terror. You understand? Because we have admitted that the people who carried out those acts came from national security. We have admitted that. There's no dispute about that. You understand? And if people from national security went to an election center and unleashed violence, which led to the maiming of people and so on, the people are in pain. One of them who got up to speak said that he had not worked since then. He has a family, he has to feed them. You understand? So a call for compensation, I think, is in order. And I would support seriously anybody making a call for compensation for these victims. Of course, the inquiry into the Ejura shooting has not completed yet, and I do not want to make any prejudicial statements.
Yesterday.
Yes. I do not want to make any prejudicial statements. But if at the end of the day, the facts are established and so on, the people who were hurt, who takes care of them? Yesterday, one of them's leg was amputated. You understand? One of them who had a bullet in the leg had to have one of the legs amputated. This would affect the person's life. The quality of life of this person will be seriously affected. What do we do as a people? What do we do as Ghana to help people whose patriotism, people whose love for country, whose commitment to free expression and so on, lands them into these difficulties? And I have no doubt at all that those who demonstrated in Nigeria were demonstrating for a good cause. They were angered by something which all of us should be angered about. Whether we are NPP or NDC or whatever, we should be angered by what happened in Ejisu. I've heard that it was a result of a family feud. Some people have said that. Even if it was a result of a family feud, shouldn't we feel revulsion at the fact that a family member over a dispute will kill another? We should feel a sense of revulsion, even if that was the case. You understand? Now, if you take the background of the person who died leading to this, it's also a source of worry. This is a crusader. This is a chap who appears to have been so devoted to the concerns, the needs, the aspirations of the people of Nigeria. And then he's taken off. For whatever reason, that would excite passion. And if it excites passion, how do you manage that passion? Do you send armed soldiers to go and deal with that? Do you use other methods and so on? Now, I've heard people say that it was expected that his burial will lead to demonstrations and so on. So what do? You move into the situation before the burial. That is where the action starts. You don't wait for the burial to take place, for the demonstrations to start, and then move soldiers there. To go and do what? To some extent, I even feel that when soldiers are used that way, it's an insult to the soldiers. Because what is the mentality? What's the mentality behind that? The mentality behind that is, as for soldiers, people fear them. So if we bring in soldiers, out of fear of soldiers, should we fear our soldiers? Our soldiers are paid, they are trained, they are given a certain discipline to defend us. We should love them. We shouldn't fear them. Yes, sir. So if you have authorities who want to depend on the so-called fear of soldiers to intimidate the population, it's an insult. It's an insult to the armed forces. It's an insult to the soldiers. And I feel a certain sense of revulsion at this abuse of the armed forces.
Right. Yesterday, there was this report of a fire outbreak at Makola.
Yeah, Makola.
I've just been told by our producer that the place is still burning after the fire service said they've put it out. And Ohima of Original TV, our chief station, is actually at the place with a report for us. So, okay, I'm told it's not ready, so we can just move on. Okay.
Okay, yes. Are
Yes,
you done?
sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think we are all singing from the same hymn sheet that the unfortunate killings in the past few, I'll say months, because there were about two murders in Nigeria. There was no incident in one. There was no incident. Did anybody get killed in one?
No.
They were just beatings. These are all unfortunate, happening in a democracy.
But there were injuries.
Oh yeah, there were injuries, of course. But these are all unfortunate in a democracy. But you see, we should also avert our minds to how the military has been used in the past. You understand? So I can't go back to 66. I wasn't born. I can't go back to 72. But I was very little. But I can go back to 79. I can go back to 81. It's how these head of states have used the military to unleash terror on the citizenry. You understand? And that mentality is still with us. That bringing the military, they will come in. Because when it comes to crowd control and all of you, I think I was watching Bernard Apley on City TV and going through the various roles. The FPU, foreign police, they are in charge of crowd control, what have you. So it's like, what is it? Is it lack of resources? Is it lack of personnel? Is it retooling? What is it? Because we seem to have all these institutions or all these bodies. But when it comes to, putting it to the test, they fail woefully. And that is what.
Okay, you have told us that we have the feed. We have the feed from Makola now. So let's get on him of Original TV with the report.
And one may want to know if the place has been contained. As it stands now, the place it is still burning. The fire outbreak, you can see the smokes and everything shows clearly that the expectation of the owners of these shops for their shop to be contained, for the fire to be contained, it won't materialize today or tomorrow. According to the Ghana Fire Service officer on this particular stretch, made us to understand that they have been able, they tried to contain the fire. That was around 1 a.m. this dawn. However, few hours later, they were notified again that the fire outbreak is still ongoing. And they were also wondering what might have caused it to reignite again. Currently, as you can see, there are smoke all over, and still some of the items and the materials in the shops are still burning. We've been able to spot a generator in there. We also spotted a cylinder in there, that is a gas cylinder. We also spotted a cooking stove in there, some iron and other materials that are highly flammable. So she did notify us also that so far they do not have enough water on the grounds. The Ghana Water Company Limited have been saying and then cross accusations that they have supported them and they're giving them enough water, but the situation on the grounds clearly shows that the servers do not have enough water to be able to contain the fire. There is a water hydrant by the Ghana Water Company Limited, which is being positioned over there. But the reality of it is that there is no drop of water in there. According to the woman who is in charge of this place, Lily Robertson Ashon, she did explain to us that even if the water hydrant over there should even support or be flowing, they will be so happy to have contained the fire outbreak. But the Ghana Water Company Limited, the water hydrant over there, it is not functioning. There is no water, it doesn't flow. So they have to go all the way to Kaneshi or to Trade Fair before they'll be able to get some water to contain the fire. And we all know that early morning like this, it is rush hour. And then moving these two trucks or their water tenders to Kaneshi and then to Trade Fair to get water to contain the fire, it's a bit hectic for them. However, they are trying their possible best. They are trying their possible best to be able to contain the fire outbreak. We have scores of traders around here and some buyers too who are also here. Some traders who have been affected greatly by this outbreak. They were here early morning, but they have left. They wanted to know if this place has been contained, if the fire outbreak has been contained. But as it stands now.
All right, so that was Ohima of Achi TV station, original TV, giving us a report live from the Makola market where we had the fire situation yesterday. And as you could see from the video, the place is still burning. Portions of the place are still burning. So it means that the fire has not been put out completely. And the fire service personnel are still there, but it also appears that there's still some confusion between the Ghana Water Company and the Ghana National Fire Service. We hope that it will be rectified. And one of the issues that we would want to perhaps address is also the building, the structural defects with respect to the building, whether it can be renovated as it is, or it should be pulled down completely. I'm sure that the experts will look at it and tell us about the structural integrity of that particular building and perhaps the adjoining buildings as well. And so this is something that I'm sure the news team will follow up on. Yes.
Should we address this or continue with what?
Let's just go on.
Okay. So we see it's how the military has been used, have been used in the past against us, and that mentality that will bring in the military and will come and quell the demonstration, what have you. And Kwesi, in all the advanced countries you've visited, how often do you see the military in town? Where do you see them? Randy? Well, I never saw the military anywhere I lived outside of Ghana. The closest I go to was the barracks. But even driving past the barracks and stuff, you hardly see them. I think the first time I came into contact with many of them was when I was in Dubai. I'm sure they were leaving a base, an American base, from there to go back home. And I saw them in a shopping mall. They were in droves. But beyond that, you don't see the military anywhere. You understand? But the minister took the seat yesterday, Ashanti Regional Minister. He told us how he brought in the military. We also want to hear from the Army Chief of Staff. Is that how it's pronounced? Is that how it's called?
The commander.
The Army Commander, the Army Commander, to also come and explain to us, the tactics used and what have you. So, Randy, once we begin to hear from all these people, then you can probably see, what has this got to do, really? It's got to do with tactics. And if the tactics went bad, then, of course, they have to revisit their tactics and bring people up to speed on modern tactics on crowd control and what have you. So, Kwesi, you can't really fault us. It's where we've come from as a country. Military getting involved in politics, military being used by politicians here and there, what have you. We saw, I don't want to go there because I hate equalization. So I don't want to contradict myself. But that is the mentality of many of Well, I read this, and I think I like the sound of it. There's a reason you separate military and the police. One fights the enemies of the state, that's the military. The other serves and protects the people, that's the police. When the military becomes both, then the enemies of the state tend to become the people. I like the sound of that.
Yeah. So this is by, they've written William Adama, but it's actually Edward James Olmos.
Almost.
And he plays
How do you spell that?
Olomos.
Olmos.
MOS, yes. But the William Bill Adama is a fictional character.
Oh, okay.
That is played by Edward James Olmos.
Okay.
And there's a Battlestar Galactica television series.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I like the sound of it when I read it, and I think.
So his name as a character in the series is William Adama. Or Bill Adama.
Bill Adama.
Yeah, but the actual name is Edward James Olmos.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that. I think it should all guide us. It should be a guiding principle going forward. So basically, that's what I'm going to say.
But actually, I listened to General Nelu Mensah, who should know. He's been heard.
The former CDS, isn't it?
Yes. And I listened to him, and he said that, look, soldiers, when we call them into any situation, do not go there to go and, play games. They go there to shoot. You understand?
Really?
Yeah.
He said that?
He said that. He said soldiers don't go there to play. So if you call them, you must be ready.
The matter must be critical.
Yeah, you must be ready. And you see, when you call soldiers into a situation like this, the psychology they come with is that the police have tried and failed. So the situation has gone beyond a certain threshold. That's the psychology they come in with.
Of course.
The problem for me is not
You
the
understand?
soldiers.
But
It's those who call them.
But that's the point I'm making.
Yes, those who call them.
Exactly.
But this is the original.
Because you are a civilian. You keep talking about atrocities. Military people venturing into leadership of the state and using the military to oppress us. You, the civilian. And when you, the civilian, you get opportunity
You bring them back.
to rule, you bring them back to do exactly what you were complaining about. What does that say about you?
But like we see is saying, rightly saying, you see, I think the thinking is Randy. Once they think the police is not up to it, they bring in the.
You see, Eugene, and you see, let's watch something. I said this the day after this happened. That look, you are an MP in the Ashanti region. Are we saying that what we saw at Ejura on that day, the police in the Ashanti region did not have the capability to deal with that? If the
Randy,
police,
you let's wait for the.
if the
public
police,
inquiry to
no, I'm
finish
just saying
its
this.
work.
If what we saw at Ejura, if the police in the Ashanti region is incapable
Then we have
of dealing with that,
a serious problem.
You know, Randy, you know why I'm so slow in agreeing with you? I think that because the public hearing is going on. Let's finish.
yeah, because you see the pension, the fact that the same thing happened in Parliament. Yes, because people have access to the military and can call them. So, with any little situation, you see, I'm driving to a certain angle. This issue about civilian complaining about how military leaders use the military, and then they, when they have power, decide to use it as flippantly as we are seeing. And I'm just driving to a point, and it's about the use and abuse of power, authority, privilege.
No, Randy, you see, I would say let's hasten slow.
Look, when
the committee to finish this
when the fix
the
country guys, they said they were going on a demonstration, and they said they won't allow them, and there were some rumors that they were going to go ahead with it. Did you see the display of police might at the Independence Square? Did you see it? Not military. Did you see it? Why do we do this?
But it's even insulting to the police.
Yeah, why do we do this?
Why do you create the impression that the police is so woefully incompetent that even for these situations...
This is a Jura thing.
But the question you must be asking, and you see, the reason why I don't want to wade into the matter for now is because of the ongoing public hearing. I don't want to seem prejudicial.
No, I understand.
Yes. We are contributing to the hearing.
Then go to Kumasi.
If I'm invited, I'll go.
Yeah, of course.
The only thing is that they don't take opinions. They are taking eyewitness.
Of course.
Yes.
You see, but what kind of ammunition that the military have that the police doesn't? It must all begin.
No, I think first of all, it's not even about what the military has and the police don't have.
So what
I'm saying that.
So what is it?
Looking at what we saw, what was happening at Ejura, what was it that we say that the police in the Ashanti region cannot deal with it? that we have to call policemen in 2 pickups to come and deal with it. If the police,
soldier men or military men, or
military men,
yes.
If the police in the Ashanti region, the police service, can't do what we saw, then we don't have a police service.
Randy, I think we've heard the regional minister, but I also want to hear from the army commander. So I think we should wait for them to finish their report. You see, because we don't really know. So let's get a full fact. Then we can all speak to the facts. That's why I'm very careful.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. But my point is that I'm just sitting down. Fortunately, we can see what happened.
Of course, the footages, yes.
And if a minister says that the basis for my invitation, first of all, I invited the military. I am in charge of security in the region. And my intelligence suggested that the thing was out of the hands of the police. And so I called in the military. So I sit back and ask myself, with what I saw, if the police service in that region, we are told, is incapable of dealing with that issue, for which reason the military must be brought in, then we have no police service.
Randy, the question is also to speak broadly about it. What was the intelligence there at the time? Well, like we see rightly said, that there was going to be disturbances during the funeral procession and what have you. So where is national security in this?
You see, but the minister says he picked up intelligence.
No, so Randy, you see.
So post facto intelligence. Intelligence really is in the first place to try and avert.
Yes.
That's why you pick intelligence.
That's what I'm saying. That what was the role?
Because that's for when the thing happens there, it is no longer intelligence.
Randy,
it has happened.
Randy, so I'm sure that we sat here last week.
But who's in charge of that? Is it not the same person who called the military?
Randy, bear with me. We sat here last week. We mentioned 3 ministers. Now there are 4. Yes, we mentioned Ambrose Derry. We mentioned Kendapa. We mentioned Dominic Nitiwo. Now Simon Osemensa is also part. So there's a quartet. That quartet must address this matter. Because see, like Randy said, national security's role is to avert. So by what Kwesi is saying this morning, what was the role of national security in all this? Because intelligence available was that there were going to be disturbances and chaos in a draft. You understand? So straight away, the national security apparatus should have moved in to avert the situation, right? That didn't even need. We didn't even need the regional minister to have called in the military. You understand? So, like I said, because there's a public inquiry going, I don't want to sound prejudicial. Let's all wait patiently for them to. It's only 10 days. The president is requesting the report within 10 days. So I'm sure, hopefully by next week, this thing will be all over, and then we can then begin to, deal properly with the issues that will be raised. Right. Because there are a lot of issues that are going to be raised.
Okay, so we'll take a break. When we return, public servants see lowest pay rise in a decade. What about Article 71 office holders? And just in case you do not know, the finance minister tabled a $28 million loan in Parliament for MPs' vehicles. And there's been a new definition for Article 71 office holders. A constitutional amendment done through an administrative fiat in a democratic and constitutional dispensation. I'll break all this down for you when we return.
In Ghana and in Africa, there is only one place to look to get that luxurious design and decor for your offices and homes. Visit Jamila Home. We give you the climax of luxury wherever you find yourself. Presidential and executive office furniture, living room set, dining set, stunning mirrors, adorable wallpapers, lovely king and queen size beds, valuable antiques and antique goods, beautiful chandeliers and more. Into the bargain, we provide caring customer service, prompt delivery service, skilled and artistic full house design and decor services, and free decor ideas for your space. Our products and service is unparalleled, boasting of top-tier clients all over the globe. Jamila Home, home of first-class quality furniture, beautiful chandeliers, and antiques.
Bringing you Africa's creme de la creme's classiest hangouts, award shows, end-of-year parties, wedding, graduations, birthdays, fashion or corporate events. Metro Social has got you covered. We present bazaars with je ne sais quoi. Give us a call and we will be there.
Whilst at that, join us on Metro Social every Friday at 9:30 p.m. and a repeat on Saturdays and Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on Metro TV.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Are you tired as a consumer in Ghana when it comes to issues that confront you as a consumer? Worry no more. Kofi Capito, I'm here to give you the information, all that you need to make sure that your right is protected as a consumer. We have too many laws and agencies that should protect the right of the consumer. I'm here to give you the information that will help and assist you to get goods and services delivered to you without any worries. Watch the Capito Show on Metro TV.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show, Kwesi Pratt Jr. and the Honorable Eugene Boachi Entry. Show brought to you in kind partnership with X Natural Mineral Water. So there was a story in yesterday's edition of the Business and Financial Times. It caught my attention. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to deal with it, so I decided to bring it up today because it is as relevant as any other thing. So yesterday, the Business and Financial Times carried a story on its front page. Public servants see lowest pay rise in a decade. Pay goes up by 4% and 7% in 2021-2022. Labor unhappy with quantum. Government cites job sustainability and economic recovery as the reasons. Now, Osei Owusu Amankwa reports that public servants will see a 4% pay rise in their base pay this year, the lowest increment since the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission began the Public Services Joint Standing Negotiating Committee negotiations in 2010. The committee, made up of government, organized labor and employers, have agreed to a 4% increase in base pay for public sector workers in 2021. They've also agreed to a 7% base pay increase for 2022. This means that if you are paid 1,000 cedis, you receive a 40 Ghana cedis top up this year. In 2011, public servants earned a 20% increase in their base pay, the highest on record, and since then, the increment has been on the decline. In 2012 and 2013, the increment was 18 and 10% respectively. In 2014, government gave them a cost of living allowance COLA of 10%. In 2015, 13% was announced. In 2016, 2017, and 2018, the base pay was increased by 10, 12.5, and 11%. In 2019 and 2020, public sector workers enjoyed a 10% increase in the base pay, respectively. Organized labor had proposed a 15% rise for both years, but subsequently reduced it to 10% each. But government insisted on its earlier proposal of 4 and 6% for 2021 and 2022, respectively. However, as organized labor kept on with its proposed figures of 10% for both years, government tabled 4% and 7% for 2021 and 2022. Now, these are government's reasons. Government, represented by the Minister of Employment and Labor Relations, Ignatius Bafwe, and Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, cited the effect of COVID-19 on the economy and pleaded with labor to find a middle ground to support the economic recovery process. According to government, the state would be forced to retrench some public sector workers and halt employment if they are forced to agree with a 10% increase for both years. Organized labor, after some caucus deliberations on the issue raised by government, accepted the proposal of 4% and 7% for 2021 and 2022, respectively, as a means to protect the jobs and help in the economic recovery process. Organized labor, however, pushed for some conditions. That this agreement takes effect from 1st January 2021 with a payment of arrears spread as follows. Month 1, January arrears payment should be added onto the August salary. Month 2, that's February, added to September. In the same order for October and November, and 2 months arrears on December 2021, completing the 6 months arrears. The second condition was an agreement that there will be no retrenchment during the period. The third is for government to continue to recruit into the public sector. Fourth was for government to ensure that vaccines were made available for public sector workers. Lastly was that government ensure full payment of Tier 2 pension. The Industrial Relations Officer of the Public Service Workers Union, in charge of the 3 Bono regions, Kofi Asari Esianoma, told the BNFT in an interview that organized labor is not happy with the increment, considering the difficult times public sector workers find themselves in. So that's it. Government says that, look, bear with us. Even in these difficult COVID times, we did not even retrench one worker. And if you force us to go with a 10%, we would have to reduce the size of labor. And we'll have to put a freeze also respect to employing new persons. And so bear with us. Let's take 4 and 7 for 2021 and 2022. But guess what? Whilst we are this, there's another group which the Constitution refers to as Article 71 office holders. And we have said severally, raised this issue severally, about how governments in the Fourth Republic delay in setting up these committees. And when these committees are set up, they also take all the time in the world to present their reports to government. And then government also waits till a few days, sometimes even a day before Parliament rises, to also submit this to Parliament. And there's always a closed-door meeting to discuss these issues. And so salaries, so as we speak, to just give you a practical example, the members of Parliament and ministers and deputy ministers today are actually taking salaries that were determined in December last year. And it's called on account because theirs have not been determined. And they will wait till maybe 5th of December or 5th of January 2025 to determine what they should have earned from 2021. Okay. And then, so they will have for the year 2021, and then there will be an increment in 2022, then 2023, then 2024. And then you have to calculate all as back pay against what they took on account. And so the salaries are always determined in year 4. So it's only in Ghana that people in the executive or Article 71 office holders do not know what their salaries are until the end of their term. That's how smart we all have been. Okay. So you're just going to see. So what you're seeing on the screen now is actually the work of the current committee. And you can see that there is this is the one for the judiciary. We'll also show you the one for the executive. So you would see that a determination from 2017 to 2021. Just go up a bit and hold it there. I just want the table. So you would see 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. So this determination was made when Parliament was rising. But guess what? The implementation of same is being done this year. So this was like just a couple of months ago. So this is when we have determined for Article 71 office holders what they were entitled to from 2017 to 2020. And so all what they took was what you called on account. The previous determination for 2013 to 2016. And so you will take what they earned in 2016 and all the additions will be paid to them as what? Ex gratia or back pay? Yes, ex gratia. Now, currently, they will be on what is written as 2020. And it will still be called on account, although the determination was made now. And I am sure that by their tradition, we will wait till 2024 or 2025 and make a determination for what they're entitled to from 2021 to 2024 and have the same ex gratia kind of situation. Let's see the one for the executive. This is just the judiciary. You know, and so you would see the one for the executive that also. So this one, it details from the president to a deputy minister non-MP. So there's the same, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. The determination has been made now. You know, same for the legislature. So they will also be paid that. And those in parliament and the executive now, they will be earning what you see in 2020, but it will be called on account because theirs have not been determined. And this is how we've gone about it. And all these monies will be paid during this COVID era. The COVID era that makes it difficult for us to give some people more than 4% and 7% for this year and next year. Eugene Boachientry, Honorable Member Subin.
Okay.
Yes.
I can speak to experience.
Okay.
So, if you allow me, I think the Article 71 is captured in law.
Yes.
The other one, the public service one, I think is more negotiations.
Yes.
So let's look at Article 71, what the Constitution says.
Yes.
And then develop the argument from there. I think if you go to Article 72, I said the salaries and allowances payable, and the facilities and privileges available to the states, the Speaker and Deputy Speakers and Members of Parliament, the Chief Justice and other Justices of the Superior Court of Judicature, the Auditor General, the Chairman, Deputy Chairman of Electoral Commission, Shraj and District Assembly's Common Fund, the Administrator, the Chairman, Vice Chairman of other members of National Council for Higher Education, Public Service Commission, National Media Commission, Lands Commission, National Commission for Civic Education, being expenditure charged on the consolidated fund shall be determined by the President on the recommendations of a committee of not more than 5 persons appointed by the President, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State. 2, the salaries and allowances payable and the facilities available to the President, Vice President, Chairman, and other members of the Council of State, Ministers of State and Deputy Ministers being expenditure charged on the consolidated fund shall be determined by Parliament on the recommendation of the committee referred to in Clause 1 of this article. 3, for the purposes of this article, except as otherwise provided in this Constitution, salaries, in quotes, includes allowances, facilities, and privileges, and retiring benefits or awards. Fine. Randy, I think I'm with you. I told you that my experience in Britain, I don't know of anywhere, is that when you go for a job interview and you are successful, when your appointment letter or your offer letter, as they say it out there, is coming through your door, it states your conditions of service, and that includes your salary. So from day one, you walk into office knowing that I'll be earning 35,918 Ghana cedis a year. So that's how you proceed to work. If you look at the Constitution is saying is giving the powers to the president. The president must appoint a commission, right, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State to do this for us. You are right. I think you have to do it before the end of the year. I think it has to be done before the end of 2024. Well, it's normally done, the Article 71 remuneration emoluments. It's done before we enter the new year.
Yes.
It's done in past.
Yes.
But I think the accounting year runs from 1st January to 31st December.
So you do it around the 5th of December.
Yeah,
thereabout.
yes. And make sure it's concluded before the 31st, before we move into the new year. When they ask to the rationale behind this, I don't know. And you rightly said that it's been abused by successive presidents in this Fourth Republic. That how come the salaries and emoluments of certain voters cannot be determined at the beginning of the year?
So we take an example. What we are talking about, the public sector, so employers, labor, they have met, and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission this year. We are in July. This determination was made June. So government came into office, ministers were put in place. They finished it for public sector workers. It's done. So now, we have had elections into the Council of State. It's done and dusted. The committee to be set up by the president must be done in consultation or upon advice of the one of them. I don't know if it's consultation or advice, one of them, with Council of State. Now, how long?
Accordance with advice.
Yes. How long does it take for the president to set up a committee once the Council of State is in place to deal with this issue? And especially when, you see, I always say that I would make room for Green Street, which was the first one, because you could say that that was a novel thing. But when you have had 3, 4, 5 committees, really, any committee you set up has a base to work with. So how long will it take for a president to set up this committee upon the advice, with the advice of the Council of State? And how long will it take such a committee to make a determination for Article 71 office holders, especially when you have the benefit of the work of previous committees?
And also bear in mind that if you want to do it properly, you must do it every year. Because I think it's also linked to inflation.
You do, yeah, you make adjustments for inflation. For example,
so do it every year.
For example, with these public sector workers, the determination is for 2021 and 2022.
Oh, they've done it for the 2 years?
Yes, 2022, 7%, 2021, 4%.
Okay.
And I'm sure that they factored all those things.
Yes.
That's what is done.
That's how it's calculated.
Yes, you can always adjust, you adjust for inflation.
So if you want to bring it to the normal realm, like what the negotiations that took place between,
yes,
then we can do it every year. The president sets this committee at the first 6 months of the year, or the first 3 months, right? The Council of State must be sworn in at least the first month, right? So that they will be able to do these things properly. So they do all this. So maybe it's also to do with the appointment system. You know, how long it takes for committees to be formed and what have you. Maybe we must also look at that. Like I always say, if we want to do it properly, we can do it every year. The first quarter of every year, these things should have been established. Right, so we know.
We have demonstrated that even with public sector workers, we can be able to do it in 2 or 3 months. What is it about Article 71 office holders? That it must take 4 years. What is it?
Randy.
That would always, I mean, does that not demonstrate how super smart we are? I mean, that set up a committee, determine entitlements of Article 71 office holders, and it takes us 4 years to do that.
Yes. Well, Randy, yes. Like I said I speak to experience,
and that's what brings all the issues. Because now I'm sure people are calculating.
Yes, because as soon as you pay an ex-gratia, say, the MPs are going to take this, the MPs are going to take this, but they don't know that as we speak, my ex-gratia was paid to me, I think, last month.
Oh, you didn't tell me.
Oh. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you.
But we were together last month.
It's not how you are.
We were together last month. You didn't tell me.
Is that how you are?
You see, for the first 4 years, I was on the salary of the 6th Parliament MPs.
Yes.
So they only paid this year. So now, as we speak, I'm still on the 7th Parliament salary.
Yes.
You understand? Yes. And
they say on account.
On account, yes. So I don't. What I say, you're right. The first 3 months, it will put together for them to determine their salaries, so that there's this issue of ex-gratia and what have you is taken out of our politics, because it doesn't do anybody any good. And you know, there are historical evidence for us to work with. You know, like the Green Street you said. You can be how is it worked out? Linked to inflation.
We have about 5 or 6 now.
Yes.
So any committee that comes up.
And Randy, it's always also headed by a professor. You see, it's always headed by a professor. So if you're not a professor, count yourself out. You see, we are dealing with pure academic stuff, no common sense. Excuse my language. So it's always headed by a professor. You understand? But why should we wait? Why should somebody wait for 4 years before taking money that's due them? You understand? People walk through Parliament and live as paupers. Right? And at the end of the 4 years, you give them something, and they have to go back paying their debts, and they're left with nothing. So whatever it is, and people are going to make determination of how they're going to pay their rent or their bills and what have you based on their salary. So whatever is due them, the first 3 months of the year, it can be done. I'm sure going forward, we must all look at trying to do it on a yearly basis, or even, you know, biannual basis.
You see, you can do, when you set the parameters, say that you agree that we adjust for inflation.
7%. We know.
It will work out by itself.
Yes.
You don't even have to come and sit down again.
Yes. And when people see these salaries to Randy, I don't know what the media will do with these figures I put out there.
Anyway, can I do what I want to do?
Let him finish.
Let me finish. And then also, even with ministers, you know, I'm even concerned about the non-MP ministers.
Yes.
How do they also take their salary?
It's the same way.
So, yeah, it's the same way. But Randy, how is it worked out for them?
How is it worked out?
Yes.
Well, no, they have a formula.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
When you realize a formula.
Because I also got my top-up pay as a deputy minister.
MP.
Yes.
During
the ex-gratia.
So the difference. They will do the difference.
Yes. So, how is it worked out, Randy? They have the formula. We are not privy to the formula, so. But I think it makes sense.
When they brought the report, you weren't interested in all the analysis. You went straight for the figures.
Yeah. Andy,
if you had gone through the analysis, you'd have seen all that.
Do you have CCTV cameras in the room or what?
My ears are big enough.
So yes, so we can look at all this. But I mean, I think the best way forward is try and do it on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
Or even 2 years is fine. What they've done is fine. It's okay, so that people can make projections or make their savings or spendings based on these figures, as opposed to give them at the end of the day not taking anything away.
Where's it?
Well, anytime this issue comes up, we are told that it's provided for in the 1992 Constitution. I challenge that. There's nothing in the 1992 Constitution which says that the salaries of MPs, of ministers, of presidents, and so on should be increased every 4 years. There's nothing in the Constitution which says that. Nothing. Okay? There's nothing in the Constitution which says that in a situation where government itself complains about the lack of funds, the difficulties that the economy is going through, as a basis for giving paltry increases to the working people of this country, parliamentarians and other Article 71 office holders should be receiving the kinds of increments that they are receiving. And Randy, I like to use what is available here. This is from the Office of the Judicial Secretary. And it is headed, Implementation of the Report of Professor Ya Ntiamwa, Presidential Committee on Emoluments for Article 71 office holders, and so on and so on and so forth. Randy, it's interesting. If you take the Chief Justice, in 2017, the Chief Justice was receiving a monthly pay of 25,000.
Now he's supposed to receive it. What it mean? What you're reading, Akwesi? What it means is that in 2017, he never received that money.
No, don't worry.
Yes.
Don't worry. I mean, now in 2018, the salary of the Chief Justice went up to 28,943 cedis per month. In 2019, it went up to 32,242 cedis a month. In 2020, it then goes up to 35,918 cedis a month. Which means that from 2017 to 2020, the Chief Justice has received salary increase of 10,000 Ghana cedis a month. Huh?
Yes.
That's the annual salary of many Ghanaian workers, faced with the same conditions that all of us are faced with. Okay. Then you take a Supreme Court judge. 2017, 25,315 Ghana cedis. 2018, 28,200. 2019, 31,415. And 2020, 34,997. An increase over the period of 9,000 Ghana cedis a month.
That's not much.
Oh. What about the worker who has been given 7 to 8% increase, the minimum wage increase?
You're not comparing.
Okay.
Oh, we shouldn't compare.
I said you're not comparing like
No, the best way to look at it is to look at the percentage increase, not the nominal.
No, not the nominal one.
Oh, but you can do the percentages.
Yes.
Of course.
No, the percentage will be a better reflection.
Yeah, but if you look at percentages,
yes,
there is no way these increments are going to be the same as the minimum wage. Please, let's be clear. I mean, if you want, we can do the percentages. I don't want to do. No. The percentages would even show that these are astronomical increases.
Oh, not astronomical. Okay, because there are two ways of looking at it. You can look at it this way. The other way to look at it is not to say that this is astronomical, but to say that the increment for the public sector workers is woefully inadequate.
The same talk.
No,
it's the same talk.
You see,
the glass is half empty. The glass is half full.
Yes.
Same talk.
Not really.
Same talk.
Because if you were to ask me, Kwesi, I could probably have an opinion which suggests that even these levels are not good enough. Same thing I'll speak for public sector workers.
Within what context are you going to say that? Because we are compelled to do a comparison.
True.
We are compelled to do a comparison.
True.
You cannot evaluate salary levels and so on without doing a comparison.
True.
You understand? And then it goes on and on and on. I'll put this aside.
Yes. You have that of the executive.
Yes, I was looking for it. I couldn't find it.
You have it.
You know. But I'm not even going to do the executive analysis because it's the same thing. It's to show the same trend. Okay. Now, Randy, what is worrying is that these increments are given, and I've already demonstrated that there's nothing in the Constitution which says that these increments must be given. Okay. Now, these increments are given, and they are not paid. Okay? For example, those who went to Parliament this year, they are being paid on the last Parliament, the salaries approved for the last
Parliament.
Exactly. And they'll be on that salary for 4 years. At the end of the 4 years, some calculation is done and said, look, they should have received so much increment and so on. So let's calculate that difference for 4 years and pay to them.
That's the discussion.
And it's in the millions.
To thousands, not millions. Are you quoting old cities or new cities?
New cities.
Oh, no. Nowhere near a million.
So where is it? You tell me.
You got yours. No, Randy. But it's nowhere. It's nowhere. Last month. It's nowhere near a million.
So how much did you get?
This confidential. It's my salary. It's confidential.
No, it's all here.
Oh, now I can calculate it for you.
Calculate it then.
I can calculate.
You understand?
I can calculate. At least I know how much you owe me.
That's so unfair. You understand? And then, you know what is also problematic? Eugene has been re-elected.
Yes.
So he's going for another 4 years.
Yes.
Okay? And yet, he's been paid ex gratia. As if he's retiring. And yet he's continuing.
Some didn't come back, so you must look at it in the context, Kwesi.
I understand.
But if you look
so
at it,
why don't we, and this suggestion has been made before, why don't we have a pension scheme which takes account of the variations in service of parliamentarians, of ministers, and so on, so that we are all under that pension scheme?
But see, if you go to those who are not elected every 4 years, the scenario you are painting even gets worse. So there are those who have been appointed to serve, and they have a retiring age. They don't do every 4 years.
Yeah.
But because they are classified as Article 71, anytime Eugene and his colleagues, they finish their term and the determination is made, same is made for these people. They also receive the ex gratia. But for some of these people, they retire on their salaries.
Yeah.
They have their pension sorted out already. But they still become beneficiaries of, although they don't come in 4 years, and there's a probability that they might not come back or come. They are there. But because they are labeled as Article 71, anytime...
This category of person.
Yes, anytime this 4-year thing is done, they will benefit.
Yes. Exactly. Oh, Randy, you put it
but Kwesi, you also...
Can I finish?
No, here, bear with me.
Randy,
These people,
you put it so brilliantly that I'm not going to add anything to that argument. I'm going to move on to the next argument.
Which is
the clear violation of the provisions of the 1992 Constitution. If you take the 1992 Constitution, it clearly defines who Article 71 office holders are.
I just read it.
Yes.
You understand? Now you have a situation where the executive, in collaboration with these committees that the executive itself sets up and so on, is importing other categories of citizens onto the list of Article 71 office holders. Who put the wife of the president in Article 71 office holders? Who put the wife of the president there? Is that in the Constitution?
It was recommended and accepted.
Is that how you amend the Constitution? Is that how you amend the Constitution? Because effectively, the Constitution has been amended.
No, really.
The wife of the president, is she an Article 71 office holder? The wife of the vice president, is she an Article 71 office holder? So effectively, you have amended the Constitution through an illegality, clear illegality. This is the problem. If we are sticking to the Constitution, let's stick to the Constitution. In any case, what the Constitution says is not that every 4 years the president must by all means set up this committee. The Constitution doesn't say that. The Constitution doesn't say that every 4 years the president must set up this committee, which must by all means increase the salaries of Article 71 office holders. The Constitution does not say that the wife of the president is an Article 71 office holder, and so on. So some of these things are in clear violation of the provisions of the 1992 Constitution. And for me, bottom line, is so unfair to the working people of this country. As for the working people of this country, the ordinary workers, the factory workers, the drivers in the civil service, and so on, they are told that because of COVID, their salaries cannot be increased beyond a certain threshold. But as for those who make the decisions, their salaries can be increased beyond that threshold.
So,
how is this?
But on this issue you just raised.
Yes.
Okay, this is what the executive director of CDD, H. Kwesi Prempeh, this is what he says about it. Says the mandate of an Article 71 emoluments committee is limited to recommending the salaries and other benefits and privileges of those office holders specified in Article 71, Sections 1 and 2. That list of covered office holders is exhaustive. The Article 71 emoluments committee has no authority to recommend payment of any allowance or emolument to first or second spouses, as these are not Article 71 offices or office holders. And of course, the Constitution does not require or compel a president or vice president to have a spouse. Bachelors and bachelorettes are welcome. As far as the Constitution is concerned, you know what to do. If government wants to pay first and or second spouses from the public fisc, it must introduce a bill to that effect. The clear import of Articles 108 and 178 of the Constitution is that Parliament cannot, on its own accord, initiate or approve payment or any such emoluments, which will necessarily be paid from the public funds, without a bill to that effect emanating from and introduced by the government and duly passed into law. The political class cannot use the Article 71 process to smuggle in salaries or allowances for first and second spouses. If that's what they want done, they must get the government to boldly introduce a bill to that effect, making a case for such emoluments, and thereby allow and ensure public participation in the legislative debate on this matter. This is not something that can be done on the blind side of voters and taxpayers. Anyway, why stop at first and second spouses? Why not the third spouse, since the Speaker gets to act as president sometimes? Or the fourth, so the Chief Justice too can enjoy some marital privileges on the back of taxpayers? And on and on and on. And while we are at it, shall we also subject first and second spouses to the asset declaration laws in their own capacities? What about the sweet end of service benefits? Indeed, when we place first and second spouses on the public payroll, we essentially convert their voluntary roles into public offices, as that term is understood in Article 295. Is that the idea? Do they then become subject to all the laws applicable to public offices and officers? This is the view of HPC.
Well, they sent you on his Facebook writing.
Yes, this is what I posted.
Fantastic. I mean, he's made fantastic points. There's even a certain element which he has not looked at. You understand? Under our Constitution, the president is not enjoined, is not under any obligation to have one wife. So it is possible that if you have a president who marries traditionally and so on, you can have a president in the future with 5 or 7 wives. It is just possible, theoretically possible.
Yeah, you could have somebody who married under customary law.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you have a president who married 5, what are you going to do? Pay all of them under Article 71 office holders? Or if you have a president who is a Muslim, who is allowed
to
marry 4, what are you going to do? Pay all the 4 wives?
What is
going to be the
critical thing is that, you see, for me, it's the same debate we're having about the banning of excavators. Look, if you think that there's a case for something to be done, do it properly. If you think that wives or spouses of presidents and vice presidents ought to be added to Article 71 office holders, make a case for it and do the right thing.
And bear the consequences.
Yes.
And bear the consequences.
Yes.
So once you do that, the first lady is no longer just the first lady.
Yes.
The first lady is a public officer like any other public officer.
Yes.
And is subject
to
everything that affects public
all
officers.
the obligations on Article 71 office holders become applicable.
Exactly. Exactly. You understand? But clearly, this is an affront to the 1992 Constitution. Clear affront to the 1992 Constitution. You know. But
okay, so
I will leave it there.
The Honorable Ejapa Mesa has sent me something. Yes. It says, please check the percentage increase of Article 71 office holders year on year and relate it to the annual public sector wage increase from 2017 to 2021. Okay, say 2020. Okay. You see that the average public sector wage increases for the period is higher than the increase of the Article 71 office holders. When you back out the time value of money, you realize that Article 71 office holders are worse off. In fact, at the Committee of the Whole meeting held in December 2020 to approve the report, Parliament objected to the 4-year cycle and asked that the committee be set up early so that the salary reviews can be synced with other public sector workers. Okay.
But I said that, right? If you look at inflation, the figures are not that high. But you see, let me also read something here.
Please do.
He said the president does approve salaries and benefits for the executive. Under Article 71, the first lady and second lady are not office holders.
Yes.
So no one can determine their benefits under that article.
Yes.
However,
yes,
the committee recommended that an arrangement for the spouses be made formal and that received approval from Parliament.
The committee had no business.
Bear with me, please.
No business going there.
Eugene, I beg you, you read something from the Constitution on Article 71 about the committee.
Yes.
Can you please read it for me again?
I've read it. Why?
No, please do it for me again, please.
Well, let me finish with it. I'll read it for you.
I want to hear the voice of the son of a judge.
He said President Kufuor, in his wisdom, instituted this because of the bad situations he inherited of some spouses of some former head of states.
Eugene.
One minute.
Yes.
President Mills and Mahama even increased the rates of these benefits during their time.
Yes.
The truth of the matter is that all surviving spouses of head of states, current and former, have always received salaries. Bear with me. Nana Kroda Rollins, Antifosne Champon, Fully Rided Man have all been receiving salaries from President Kufuor's
salaries.
Eugene.
Yes.
Eugene.
Under Article 71.
Eugene.
No, under 71.
Eugene, just hold on. The one that they are referring to, is it something that was determined by the committee to determine Article 71?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. No, exactly the point I'm making to you. That, for example, yesterday or 2 days ago, the president decided that on behalf of the Republic, we're going to pay the 50 million Ghana cedis for the separation of the Siamese twins. The president has the power and authority to do that. But when it is done under the auspices of a committee, which the Constitution has so determined that it should only make recommendations for Article 71 office holders, you are placing these persons under Article 71 office holder category. And that's the point that is being made. If you think that it should be so, do what is right.
I agree that there must be a 108 says must be a accompanying bill to Parliament.
Yeah, do if that is what you want to do, because you see, the Article 71 office holders also have responsibilities.
Of course.
Like declaration of assets and all those things. They have those responsibilities. So you cannot let, because the committee is not clothed. It's not clothed with authority to make any recommendation for non-Article 71 office holders. And no president has any executive power to make them do so. And no president has any executive power to forward anything they do which is outside their remit by the Constitution to Parliament. And no Parliament has the right to go and approve any such thing.
There are key words: recommendation and arrangement. They recommended.
Yes.
And then arrangement is okay for the fact that
they had no business making that recommendation.
Eugene, please, I ask you to read something for me. Just read it.
On compassionate grounds.
Please.
Compassionate grounds.
Please read it.
The Constitution is there.
Oh, please read it for me.
Compassionate grounds.
But like I'm saying,
Eugene, please, if you give me your explanation, you give me some of your explanation. At least read it for me. What does it say?
We see.
Compassionate.
We see.
Eugene,
and let's make no mistake. You see, it is not about the fact that people don't think that they deserve, or others have not received it. But you see, we should learn to do things properly.
Yes. No, I agree with Professor.
We should learn to do things properly.
Harry Prempe.
Yes.
That 108 states clearly that you bring the bill to Parliament, we all look at it and approve it, right? So that becomes something in law that no head of state can take. But you see, let me give you an example.
If they were to make a recommendation that the GJA president and the SWAC president should be paid something, will the president forward it to Parliament and will Parliament approve it?
It depends on the reasons.
Reasons. Even though it is not within their remit by the Constitution.
Yes, but it depends on the reasons, Randy.
Eugene, the son of a judge, are you suggesting to me?
Randy, the law is there.
Hold on, are you suggesting to me?
You also have to apply common sense. But law is common sense.
Oh.
Yes.
Eugene.
So you have to apply common sense, Randy.
Where common sense actually?
Well, I mean, Randy.
They should add your spouses. Then they should add your spouses.
What I'm trying to say is that when you look at the 108,
add the spouse of the speaker.
The law is very clear.
Add the spouse of the chief justice.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Add it and turn all of them into Article 71 of his orders.
Randy, that is stretching it.
No. Eugene, I'm saying that the president, I'm sure, by executive power, can ask for some monies to be paid to these people without recourse to Parliament or anything. The president is clothed with that. But when you decide to formalize and institutionalize it through a process defined by the Constitution, then you are completely wrong. That's just the point.
Fair point. So I think we have to do it properly and come by Article 108. and make sure that these things are done within.
Yeah, if there's a case
legal
for it,
framework.
if there's a case for it, make it. And I think that there will be a case for it. But where to place them? You see, where to place them is the problem.
Not under the one, surely.
There is something which is also very interesting. These matters went before Parliament.
Yes.
And they were approved.
Yes.
And we didn't hear of any heckling, any disagreement, nothing in Parliament. Both sides.
Except because the wives cut across.
Both sides.
The wives cut across.
Accepted this coolly, no complaint, no heckling, nothing. When it came to this, they all agreed.
Because I said we are
you didn't hear any walkout.
Compassion.
I'm sure they were looking at their figures. They even were interested in it.
But is that not interesting?
Because Dr. Clement Apak,
yes,
who was in that parliament,
yes,
he sends me this. He says, honestly, this Article 71 thing, now including spouses, can't be justified. It ought to be challenged in court. Truth stands. But he was in the parliament.
But he approved it.
He was there.
Nobody objected to it.
So
my brother Clement was in parliament when it was
all of you were focused on your figures.
No, but I would have voted for this.
No, why not?
I would have voted for it.
Why not?
You would have voted for it, you see, and let's make something clear. I am not against, and I will never ever be against a case for paying something to spouses.
Yes.
Even for the first 4.
But those who are against are entitled to be against.
I don't have a problem.
Yes,
I'm only expressing.
Those who are against are entitled to be against.
I'm only expressing my opinion.
I understand that.
Yes,
I'm saying that. Just emphasizing
I'm
the
saying
point.
yes. I'm saying that
even though you may not have anything against it, there may be citizens who have a lot against it.
Yes,
that is democracy.
Right,
they do.
That is democracy.
So the point I'm making is that I,
as
a person, I have absolutely nothing against.
We are on the same page.
Any idea
or any
arrangement to pay.
Yes.
For the spouses, and I would even include. I will make it the 4.
Yes.
You see, but
what about the previous?
No, anything that you do today affects the previous.
Okay, sure.
Once they are alive, it affects them. So these increments we see, it will affect John Ajekun Kufuor, affect John Mahama.
Okay.
So, how would it affect them?
Because they are paid. You see, for example, what the president is paid today, same is paid to J. Kufuor and John Mahama.
No.
Yes.
But
yes.
Madam Lodina Mahama
yes.
is not a spouse to the president now.
No, you don't get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that if you...
Whatever President Kufuor is taking today.
All I'm saying is that if you...
But what I'm saying is that this is not about the condition of service of first ladies. It's not like that.
Let me
this
finish.
Is separate from the
let me finish.
Let
me finish. So I'm not misunderstood.
Yes, sir.
I'm saying that I won't have a problem if we even decide that the spouses of the top 4, so described by the Constitution, those who have the opportunity
President, Vice Speaker, Chief Justice.
Yes, I won't have a problem with it. But you see, you make a case for it, and you go through the appropriate arrangement. When the Constitution says set up a committee to deal with Article 71, and the Constitution has defined who the Article 71 holders are, and the same Constitution also assigns responsibilities that also have dire consequences on these Article 71 office holders, you don't smuggle in maybe an otherwise sensible or appropriate thing to do. Under that, that's my problem. We need to learn to do things properly. So if you decide that you want to make a case for it, at least it affords all members of the public or those who matter the opportunity to all speak about it and contribute to the debate. So those who are against it, they will make their case. Those who are for it will have to convince those against it that look.
The parliament is made up of people in the public.
In the world, yes. So Parliament could be the forum. I don't have a problem.
We are reps.
No. I don't have a problem.
And we voted for it.
Yes, we always, whilst you are in Parliament debating on issues, we also sit here.
Mm-hmm.
I preside here. Of course. So we also sit here. We also sit here and have our discussions.
Yes.
So I am just saying that don't let it look like you are smuggling something, you're doing something on the blind side of people. You're trying to, you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
You make a case for it.
But what has happened is also an indication that Parliament does not necessarily at all times represent the views of the people.
Correct.
What is happening?
But whatever
it's
it
a clear
is,
demonstration.
But whatever
of that.
it is, Kwesi, we are the reps of the people. Parliament is made up of Ghana. Every part of Ghana is represented in
But
that
there are times when you can have.
But you are right.
Where the
You are,
majority of people disagree with the representatives in
but
Parliament.
Kwesi, you see, the thing is, nobody disagrees with the fact that sometimes we can also get it wrong. We are human like yourself.
Oh,
we are fallible.
Thank you.
Yes. So, but the fact of the matter is that when it comes to this issue, I fully support the report put out by the Professor Yai Tiamwa Committee, because the spouses of these former and current head of states.
No, former is not included.
No, I'm not saying former.
Nobody mentioned
former.
former.
I read the report that President Kufuor's time, he instituted that certain salaries were paid to these people.
What report did you read? You are reading from your phone.
Yeah, I was reading from, yes.
Somebody sent it to you.
No, nobody sent it to me.
So what report?
Eugene, the difference. Eugene, hold on. Eugene,
this is my phone.
Your phone is not a report.
Eugene, hold on. The difference is that President Kufuor didn't do it through the Article 71 committee.
Of course.
All the other presidents who have done it didn't do it through Article 71.
Sure.
And I've made the point here that presidents through executive power have the right to do many things. So they can on compassionate grounds decide that even spouses of military heads who are still alive should be paid something. The executive power and authority they have allows them to do that. Now, if the president wants to institutionalize it, because that's what you do with Article 71. Once you allow them to wade in that direction, and you are so minded to present same, because mind you, whatever they present to the president is not binding on the president. It's just a recommendation.
Parliament must approve.
Yes, once you are so minded to forward it to Parliament, and Parliament is also so minded to approve it, that becomes a different ballgame.
I understand.
And Randy, there are so many things that I'm hesitant to say.
We say it.
You understand?
Yeah, we are having a conversation.
Listen,
but let me have my sheet back, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You can have your sheet back.
I have a copy on my phone, so I can still do the calculation.
You know, every president has access to large amounts of money which are not accounted for. He decides how to use them. Every president. Okay?
I don't know that.
I didn't know that.
Oh, please.
Okay. How much is the monies that we are talking about? It's nothing compared to the funds available to the president for intelligence operations.
Are you advising them to divert funds for other purposes?
No, it's not a diversion. They use it for all kinds of purposes. So, for example, if there is a former first lady who is in distress, should we do this in order to...
And they've been doing that over the years.
Exactly.
They've been doing that.
So
yes.
What's the purpose of this?
They've been doing that even to spouses of military. People were not even in the Fourth Republic.
When did they start?
Oh, I can't, top of my head, I cannot. But I remember a gesture like that which we even had to discuss. I mean, spouses of some of the living spouses of some former military heads. Yes. So I'm saying that presidents have that.
And the funds are available.
They have the executive power to do that. If you want to formalize it,
that's the word.
If you want to institutionalize it and not leave it to the discretion.
Yeah, because you have a president who may be vindictive and who will not want to listen to that.
No, not even vindictive. Somebody might say that there's no legal basis. So if you want to
formalize it
and do it properly.
So come by Article 108.
Do it properly.
With a bail or a motion.
Do it properly.
Yes. Okay, that's also
do
fine.
It properly because
that's also fine.
See, people are paid from the public.
Some struggle.
I've
seen some of them.
Wives of presidents struggling in this country. Who told you that?
Eugene.
Wives of presidents.
Eugene and Kwesi.
Sitting presidents and vice presidents struggling in this country.
Eugene and Kwesi.
Talking about.
But this is for
Eugene and Kwesi. Different categories. See, Eugene and Kwesi, different categories.
This does not talk about former first ladies. It's about sitting first ladies.
No. Once this is once it approves, Kwesi, once it is approved, living spouses will be beneficiaries.
No,
yes.
No, Randy, show me the relevant portion. There's nothing like that.
I'd have to come through it.
No, Randy. What you're saying is based on an assumption. It's not stated in black and white.
I'd have to go through and show you.
Yeah, go through.
It's not an assumption. President Kufuor instituted this, but because it wasn't formalized or institutionalized, now it's going to be institutionalized or formalized so that.
But it's being done wrongly.
No, but that point, how many times do you want to make that point?
Yeah.
Huh? How many times do you want to make it? I agree with you. That you must come by. Yes.
Okay.
If you want,
but I said that.
If you want them to come under one,
maybe the reason
under 71.
The reason of President Kufuor, let's formalize it, right? Fine, but the formalization has.
Yes.
You understand? And the issue is that the Article 108 says, look, you know what to do. Come by bill or come by motion. You understand? So if that is what is required of him, I don't think as a lawyer you have any issues with that. Because if it brings to Parliament, it will have a bipartisan support.
That is my problem.
That
is my problem.
Because
you people fight over all kinds of things, which
these
affect
spouses,
the ordinary
they cut
citizen.
across. You have some on the left, you have some on the right. You understand? So you're not going to do to the detriment of any of them. So we just get about bipartisan when we pass it through.
No problem.
So yes, the president can bring it and do it.
You know my problem. Honorable, sorry.
No, call me Eugene, fine, yes.
Well, I like to call you Eugene, but no problem.
Yeah, go on.
But I also have to show you a lot of respect.
Oh, you go, make your point.
You know my problem.
What's your problem?
When it comes to things that affect the people who queue to vote for you and so on, you are divided, you are fighting, then walk out and so on.
Yesterday, you approved $300 million.
Can I?
Confidence and someone will
Can I?
We also do a lot.
But when it comes to sharing for yourselves, there's no quarrel.
This is not sharing. This is not sharing. It's my salary. But you might be a worker that they can't say. It's my salary.
Yes.
Yes, we are not. What are we sharing?
That's a share of.
Oh, Debbie. What is that sharing? It's like we are doing something kululu.
When you do things against the provisions of law, is it not kululu?
No, Kwesi.
Is it not kululu?
Kwesi, that point.
When what you are doing
that point has
is
been
in violation
and
of the law. It's in violation of the law. Is that not kululu?
Well, violation of the law, it depends on where you stand. But if
on the face of the law, this is a clear violation.
He agrees. You see, if you do the right thing the wrong way, it doesn't make it right.
Yeah, so a bill can be brought, we can look at it, and I'm 100% convinced that it will get bipartisan support.
All right.
Because it can't both ways. And then the president will be free to do whatever he so pleases. So, Professor Henry Kwesi Prempeh, thank you for that, for that info and comment.
We'll take a break. When we return, more on Article 71 of his rules.
Do you know your answer?
The search for a reliable partner in dealing with your U-turn bus needs has been made easier and convenient with SA Automobile. SA Automobile, formerly U-turn Ghana Limited, has been in the business of offering quality U-turn products and services at competitive rates. At SA Automobile, our team of expert staff, management, engineers, and mechanics professionally deal in the sale of U-turn buses, genuine spare parts, its repairs and maintenance at a highly effective workshop with remarkable speed. We also have available the sale of Camel car batteries, Weichai and Kia spare parts, Zonton coaches and light duty vehicles for everyday movement. Contact us on 020-000-0831 or 054-555-7500. You can also email us info@saautomobilegh.com or visit our website at www.saautomobilegh.com. SA Automobile, the pleasure of doing business with you is all ours.
Aha! HD logo the bottom. Wait till say HD local channels na mo hero. And so pictures ni clear. E 5 times better. As in other channels than could be show hormone. So go the mention mon tram raka why. Oh, what the pictures. What a picture! What you AD plus decoder or multi TV and now Electroland agent PR natural local channels now HD the here is better star 879 hash numbers from Kubo box and now you activate AD channels now. You can
get an HD Plus decoder from now till the 9th of August for just $89.99 Ghana cedis and enjoy 3 months free subscription. Enjoy all the excitement and live sports action in the HD Plus Air Bustle Feely promo. Promo lasts from 7th June to 9th August 2021. Visit hd-plus.com.gh or call 024-243-9872 for more info.
Half a nose for good things.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show, I have Kwesi Pratt Jr. and Eugene Boachi Entry. The show is brought to you in kind partnership with X Natural Mineral Water. Okay, so there's another thing that has stirred a lot of controversy in this country in the Fourth Republic, Eugene and Kwesi. And for the life of me, I don't know why it is still controversial, but I've seen something else. And so the first one really is not of too much interest to me, but the second one, and when I read both, you see this is the order paper for yesterday, Tuesday, 6th of July 2021. Presentation of papers. So the following papers to be presented by the Minister for Finance. 1. Medium-term loan agreement among the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Finance, members of the 8th Parliament, 2021 to 2024, and the National Investment Bank Limited for an amount of $28 million to finance the purchase of 275 vehicles for members of the 8th Parliament, 2021 to 2024. And I'm told this works up to a little over $100,000. But the second one, gentlemen, the second one. It's a medium-term loan agreement among the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Finance, members of the 8th Council of State of the Republic of Ghana, 2021 to 2024, and the National Investment Bank Limited for an amount of $3,500,000 United States dollars to finance the purchase of 31 vehicles for members of the 8th Council of State. I didn't know that this thing extended to the Council of State.
I'm hearing it for the first time.
Yeah, that's what I didn't know, that it extended to the Council of State.
No, because you can start. I'm just
No, you're the one who knows. I'm hearing this for the first time. You know.
Were you in Parliament yesterday?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Do you recollect? If so, I don't know what this means. There are two ways of looking at it. Either that the members of the Council of State are giving loans to purchase vehicles.
That's what it means.
That's what it means, yes.
That's what it means.
But what
I mean, the language is not substantially different from the language in one.
Loan agreement among the government of Ghana.
Exactly.
Represented by the Ministry of Finance, members of the 8th Council, so they are part of the loan agreement.
Yes.
And the National Investment Bank. So we give members of the Council of State loans to buy vehicles.
Yes.
Why?
In the course of their work. 1 minute. Let me just look at what the Constitution
1 minute is very long.
Hey, where's he?
Because you should be leading us in this discussion.
I will lead you, don't worry. But I have to make sure that I'm speaking to what the Constitution says. That's why I said you can start and I'll join. But if you want me to, and I can't find a bit on the Council of State. But
you should find it. Look at the latter pages before the appendices.
But didn't you approve this yesterday?
You have not approved it. When these matters come,
it was late.
No, yes, it was late. So it's been referred to
committee,
finance committee. They're going to sit tomorrow and then bring a report.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to, let me see what
the Constitution says about the Council of State.
Yes, and their emoluments and their benefits and what have you before I can.
Oh, Council of State, are they not part of Article 71?
Yeah, but
yes,
the composition. Anyway, we see Randy. I was just telling Kwesi before we came on air that some of these things originate from post-independence parliament.
Oh.
Yes. Some of the benefits, like,
Council of State.
Yeah, accommodation, allowance, vehicle allowance. But bear in mind that these allowances, right, 40% of the figure is borne by the MP. It's taken as source from our salaries.
40% of the loan?
Of the loan that used to acquire a vehicle, yes.
It's paid by the MP?
Yes, so for example...
So 60% is paid by who?
Yes, it's paid by the government. Listen.
So they are gifts, actually.
Sorry? They are not gifts.
There's a gift element.
Kwesi, consider somebody becomes an MP.
I think I think what the state does, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that the duty is waived for you.
The duty is waived.
Yeah, but you pay for the cost of the vehicle.
No, he's saying that you pay only 40%.
Not entirely.
You don't pay the full amount.
No, only 40%. That's what Eugene is saying.
Government takes care of 60. The MP takes care of 40.
So why?
And the 40 is spread over.
And then the tax is waived
4
also.
years.
No, just hold on now. Eugene, let me understand something. So this one that works to a little over 100,000.
It's $100,000.
$100,000. Is it to suggest that $100,000 is 40% of the
MP
value of the vehicle?
No.
40%
Government is taking 100,000 plus from the bank as a loan.
100,000,
yes,
not plus.
And giving it to the MPs to buy vehicles.
Okay.
But the MPs are obligated only to pay 40% of
and then government will take the 60%.
And the government will pay the 60%.
Oh, okay. So you pay about 40,000.
In addition to waiving the tax.
But they always approve waivers for others. So they must also get a little.
You see, sometimes I wish you were in a...
I didn't know this.
Yes.
I didn't know about the 60-40. Thanks for that information.
It used to be 55-45, then it's gone to 60-40.
Okay.
Well, sometimes you
eventually
have
to get to 100.
Appreciate what some of us does. I sat in the vehicle of, I don't want to mention the MP's name, last week on our way to a funeral, immediately past MP. And the state of his vehicle.
What does that got to do with?
No, I'm saying so because you use it for your work. So if you have to commute, you see, you are in Accra. So
but
maybe
you if you are not come to Parliament, you would also be described as a former MP.
But if you say,
but the state of your car is
take the if away.
No, I'm just saying that the vehicle you used previously, you still use it.
Oh, of course.
I know your vehicle. So don't always blame the state of people's vehicles on on work.
No, but Randy, you see, now we are really fortunate to have planes flying from Accra to Tamale. So people from the furthermost can then use pickups or have to go to their constituencies. But before, you have to drive from Accra.
True.
And if I go to do that trip, once every 3 months, even once every 3 months, Randy.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. So when you look at these, when you look at the figures, say, oh yeah, it's too much, it's too this. But Randy, when you look at the actual work being by the because Randy, you cannot afford to be an Accra MP.
Of course.
You could get kicked out. In a subsequent primary. You have to be in the constituency. You have to be visible all the time. So
but there are so many categories of workers who face the same situation.
Most workers, Kwesi. But
what is this? Oh, is that what you're saying?
That's what he's
no,
saying.
But the
I want to hear what you are saying.
The Constitution itself places some categories above some.
Yes.
The Constitution itself.
You see, there are so many.
I want to hear.
There are so many employees.
He won't say it.
I want to hear what the honourable member.
I'm speaking.
Please.
Are you also doing this?
Oh.
Kwesi, I'm doing this because I'm not going to
just
go and look
what
for
it meant. Because the grandmother told him when he was a child that they are not the same. But you see, on a more serious note, these MPs, right, use the vehicles for their work.
Yes.
So it just doesn't come up as give every MP a car. In the first parliament, I think it was different. They were using smaller vehicles and stuff, but that affected the work of our MPs for the most part of our country. You understand? So decided to give everybody the opportunity of buying a SUV or four-wheel drive, as they call it.
Confirm this for me, that in fact, same parliament, when it comes to your leadership, which I believe is 5 on each side, they are treated like members of the executive. So they are given vehicles, not necessarily the loan.
I think the whips and the whips and below. I'm not too sure about the deputy majority leader or deputy minority leader. They are, I think, equivalent to a deputy minister.
Okay.
You know, so the benefits of a deputy minister, obviously, they also get it. But Randy, when you look at the figures, say, hey, 100,000 is a lot of money. But Randy, how much is a Land Cruiser now? If you want a properly spec Land Cruiser.
Without the duties, the 100,000 can give you a solid one. Yeah.
But in my first term, I just bought a Land Cruiser, and the whole money, boom. You understand? But others will also, if you are an Accra MP, you can decide to get a Prado, a pickup, and a smaller car. Depending on your work. You understand? So it's not that much, really. When you look at the actual work involved.
The issue really is about the cost of the vehicles.
Yes, and the Council of State too. You know, they also have these benefits. That's why I wanted to refer to the Constitution. But for the I'm sure they're also entitled.
Is it to suggest that perhaps the emoluments committee also made this recommendation for them?
No, I'm sure it's part of their privileges, because you see.
No, but that will come from the emoluments committee.
Possibly.
Yes.
Possibly, because they also draw from all parts of the country. You understand? So they also need their vehicles to come from the WAS, the Bogatangas, and the Damongos, and what have you. So coming to Accra for meetings and what have you, they also need their vehicles. So I'm sure that's why. No, I'm sure that the reason why they are also being given such packages. But it's all within the law. It's all within the law. They are properly looked at. It's like, accommodation allowance. Personally, an EV vehicle allowance, some colleagues of mine don't agree. But I personally don't think that people living in Accra should be getting it.
Why?
Then they say why. The reason is that
there are parts of Accra that are
you see, because
that are terrible.
Yes, I understand. But you see, because the fact that they all have to,
and that could also be discriminatory and not be positive discrimination.
You understand? So sometimes when you look at it, just give everybody and just have a peace of mind. You understand? Because if the parliament was situated to say, Kumasi, I don't see why, really, I should be getting an accommodation allowance.
Are ministers who are MPs also entitled to it?
They're not entitled to this, no. It's purely for MPs.
No, I'm saying MPs who are ministers, are they entitled to this?
Of course. Yes.
Okay.
Every MP. You are an MP first.
Okay.
The minister is for the president, though. It's not for you.
Okay.
Right. The MP, every benefit in the house, you get it.
Okay.
As a matter of fact.
Crazy.
Why?
What do I have to say?
Okay. You cannot say anything.
To be honest, the Council of State one, I never heard. I was surprised to see that.
Well, they said that sometimes, you see, because we are doing more reading now.
The things that you people can hide.
Already, we are not hiding it. It's just that if you don't read it, you won't know. Because everything comes from Parliament.
When you want to hide, one thing that makes me feel terrible, but I always say it when it fits the context. You hear that thing, when you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book, you'll never read it.
But and one day, a seasoned member of Parliament, I don't want to say on the other side told me, I said, my experience is that you bring everything late. You cannot even get time to read and scrutinize. He says, that's the idea.
So you see, gentlemen, there's a statement which was read on the floor of Parliament by a former Deputy Finance Minister, who's also MP for Obuasi West.
Oh, that's a fantastic statement.
Hike in the prices of building materials on the market. And he says, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to formally draw Parliament's attention to some unusual price developments in our market.
Okay.
In respect of the building materials, namely iron rods, cement, sand,
yesterday
aggregates, and other materials for construction. In recent times, there have been unusual price hikes of these items on the market, which has understandably provoked complaints from industry operators and consumers in my constituency of Wasi West and in the entire construction industry in the country. These price developments have triggered further hikes in building-related services such as excavation, drilling, tiling, etc. Indeed, I've heard complaints that even water supply to construction sites and construction labor have all become unusually more expensive. It is hard to figure out the source of these unusual price increases. We know that Parliament has not passed any law that could have added any tax or levy to the prices of these items. The price hikes for these items predate the recent taxes this Parliament approved as part of the 2021 budget statement and economic policy. And in any event, the 2021 budget-related taxes were not on building materials and by their nature could not have even indirectly affected the price of building materials exclusively. Mr. Speaker, it is a strange development that must be frontally addressed. We need to check this for the sake of the construction industry, but more importantly, we need to get to the bottom of this disturbing development to ensure that it does not spread to other commodities and other industries on the market. It is therefore my respectful view that Parliament needs to take steps open to us under our standing orders and the law to assist the country deal with this matter. How does Parliament deal with this issue? Kwesi?
Well, first of all, Parliament is clothed with powers to investigate every and anything, okay? So Parliament could set up a committee to establish why prices of building materials are skyrocketing. And on the basis of the recommendations of that parliamentary committee of inquiry, some suggestions can be made to the executive and so on. So I think they can go by that route. But you know what is shocking for me? What is shocking for me is that my good friend, Honorable Kweku Kwating, does not seem to realize that there is what is called the ripple effect of some measures. If you increase the price of petroleum products, it has a ripple effect throughout the economy. You understand? So you need to be looking at the ripple effect. I mean, if you increase the level of taxation and so on, VAT and all of these measures have ripple effects. And even though government may not have directly increased the price of building materials, the ripple effect of other economic measures can affect the price of building materials. Now, there's the other thing that he speaks about, and which is to suggest that these increases are occurring only in the construction sector. That is also not true. I mean, anybody who eats kinky, knows that the price of kinky has doubled over the last 6 months. You understand? I love kinky. So I know that the price of kinky has doubled over the last 6 months. And many other things, they've had their prices double. So these increases are not confined to the construction industry alone. And that's where he also gets it wrong. Now, whatever it is, the masses are experiencing these hikes in prices everywhere you go. Construction industry, transport industry, whatever industry, these hikes are occurring. And a lot of people are complaining. A lot of people are feeling the heat and so on. I would have expected my good friend, the Honorable Kweku Kwating, to have broadened, his statement to include all the other escalations that
it's a very brief statement.
Yeah, it's less than a 1 page.
Yeah, that's behind when you read it. It's very brief.
It's less than 1 page, you understand? So if you had incorporated all the other factors leading to hardship, escalation of prices and so on, it would be broad enough to facilitate a discussion of the general state of the Ghanaian economy. But as it is, he left it at the construction industry alone, and I don't know why.
Eugene, how will Parliament deal with something like this? How will Parliament go about something like this?
Well, he's the Finance Committee chairman, so he's the best person to speak to it. I think Parliament, the government has done its bit by taking away a lot of taxes. I'm sure because to a degree we run a petrol economy, and when you increase the price of petrol, everything also gets increased. And like we see saying the price of kinky has doubled and what have you. So maybe there are other factors, but because the statement in itself is very brief, it's difficult for us to do a proper interrogation.
Maybe the discussion.
Why he focused, like you said, on the construction industry.
He says there are complaints from his constituents.
Yes. So maybe he's addressing that particular problem in his constituency. So we cannot do much justice to it if it's not that broad enough for us to. But I mean, he's a finance committee chairman. He knows the taxes that this government has graciously taken away from, or taking the burden away from the citizens.
So 2 days ago, a friend sent me this. It says 24,346 cedis paid to clear a used VW Tiguan at Tema Port. Now, out of the 24,346, the actual import duty is only 5,877 cedis and 34 pesos. The actual import duty. 18,468 cedis, 66 pesos are taxes, levies, and other charges.
Really?
Yes.
He must lay out.
He has. So the import duty itself is 5,877.34. Special import levy 1,175.47. Exim Bank 440.80.
Exim Bank.
Yes, Ghana Import Bank Exim. There's a charge on as part of the duty. Import VAT 8,566.22. Network charge 210.95. Shippers cancel fee 9 cedis. Ministry of Trade and Industry, IDF fee, 5 cedis. DIS Company, 58.15. Network charge, Get Fund, 5.27. Net charge, NHIL, 5.27. COVID-19 Health Recovery Levy, 646.51. Network charge, COVID-19 Health Recovery Levy, 2.11. Vehicle examination, 587. ECOWAS Levy, 293.87. Africa Union Import Levy, 117.55. Import NHIL, 1,616.27. Net charge VAT 27.69. Get fund levy 1,616.27. Subtotal 21,261.47. Shipping line 930. Save bond 800. Plate 154. Service charge 500. Declaration fee 200. Miscellaneous 500. Subtotal 3,084. Grand total 24,346. So out of the 24,346, the import duty itself is only 5,877.34. 18,468.66 on the duty for the second-hand video.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
I